Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Large and Unnecessary First Player Token podcast.
Yes, hello.
First off, I think I think we owe an apology. We do owe an apology
we
here.
Do. To our loyal fans.
Loyal fan base, Pawel.
Yeah.
Who... Sorry. Yeah, we didn't get any recording done last week.
No, we are in arrears by 1 week.
Aye, I mean... The reason for that being that
due.
I may have been in Greece.
It's rolling around in Greece.
Well, I wasn't rolling
in
around.
the back garden.
Alright.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you saw those pictures, but fair enough.
Well, yeah. That was before he went on holiday to Kos.
Aye, that's true. Right. So, episode 5, Euan. This is going to be a bit of a shorter episode this
will be a bit of a mini episode, but we're hoping to try and cram in a lot more in the sort of coming week or so than we have done to make up for lost time. So we're just trying to squeeze out some podcastage today.
That's it. They're just this is just basically a token podcast, just to stop you all from complaining.
Yeah. It's like a token salad.
Token episode.
Yeah.
This might be episode 4B possibly. We'll call it 5.
We'll call it 5. If people out there are unsatisfied and they want to call it 4B, we'll be able to tell the difference. We'll be like, were you the fans that call it 4B, or the ones that called it 5? And there'll be a split.
We'll know a lot about your personality from your choice.
Yeah,
probably. Right, in other news, I think we've finally kind of settled into headquarters now.
Well, we have. You'll have no doubt seen the picture if you're following the page on Facebook.
Well, I'm sitting admiring the shelves that we've put up here.
Yeah.
Full of board games to play. And I'm not going to play any of them actually, because I think they look pretty where they are.
I think if we took them out, it would be, it would ruin the ambience.
Just cancel the podcast, in fact. I'm done with this.
Well, we could just continue doing episodes about how lovely this little pile of games is. We could just read from the boxes.
On this token IKEA shelving unit.
You could see if you could climb up it, and then we could document that process.
That instruction book that I got from IKEA quite clearly had a picture of a man being unhappy at climbing up that shelving unit.
Yeah, well,
he was most unhappy about it.
It induces quite stunning melancholy.
Right, well, we're not going to talk about too many things today. Like I say, it's a short episode.
We're going to talk about 2 things.
Pretty much, aye.
Yeah.
And maybe a wee teaser for the next episode.
Yeah. A couple of little bonus tidbits for you.
Yes. So let's get moving.
Let's get straight on with it.
So just like last episode, Euan, we've got a video game to talk about.
A video game?
We'll tease another one later on, but at the moment we've got one.
Don't want to let on about that yet.
It's one that I was playing before I went on holiday.
Yeah.
Before I rudely buggered off on holiday.
That's
and
alright.
Left you all behind.
Yeah. You were polite enough to let me watch you play some of the game.
Went off on holiday covered in grease.
Aye.
As you said.
That's how you can get onto some of these planes.
You saying that I'm fat?
No, I'm just saying the planes are particularly narrow.
Alright.
For someone as fat as you.
I was waiting for that bit. Right, well, the game that I've been playing, it's a 3D first-person puzzle game.
It's very 3D.
It's very 3D. Yeah. It's the most 3D.
Yeah.
Maximum 3D. A game called the Talos Principle, which I've kind of described in my own head as Portal without the portals.
I can see
which it sounds a bit like a negative comment, but it's not, because it's actually a really bloody good game.
No.
Now, it's kind of a weird thing. I think the one thing that draws me to this game is the weird sort of storyline and setting that they've got for it.
Aye.
Because you start the game as a kind of robot, but you sort of like wake up in like Greco-Roman ruins sort of thing, in this weird sort of landscape. And then you go through a sort of tutorial thing. It teaches you how to use the controls and blah blah blah. But then there's just like computers and stuff just sticking up out the ground and things like that. So it's like this, like, sort of two conflicting things, just Greco-Roman ruins, but there's a computer terminal that you can go and type stuff into and stuff like that. It's so, like I say, it seems to be set in the future.
Yeah.
But also in the past.
That's a cool meshing of visual styles, anyway.
It is, aye. It was quite interesting. Now, this game, it's on Steam, but so I think it's available for PC and Mac.
Yeah.
It came out at the end of 2014. There's an Android version of it, which came out earlier this year.
I
and
didn't realise it was on Android.
there is a PS4 version coming out tomorrow as we record this podcast, so that's the 13th of October tomorrow.
So they are actually on the day you listen to this, if you listen to it when it comes out.
No, it won't, because Wednesday.
I'm
This is
completely
Monday.
wrong about that. Yeah. But it'll be close enough.
Aye, so it'll be there if you want to pick it up. And like I say, so you begin the game as this robot.
Yeah.
And
Do you know that you're a robot? Like,
well, yeah, because you can switch to third person view,
Alright, so
and then you've just got this sort of like
you're a sort of clanky
like,
robot thing.
not like a clanky robot, a sort of like a really refined android.
Oh, that's
I would
quite
say,
nice.
sort of nice and smooth. Like,
Okay.
but you hear this voice, this guy that calls himself Elohim, which is like I think possibly Arabic word or something for God.
Okay.
And he's just, teasing you with some of his comments, and he's being all sort of godlike and saying all these, welcome to my domain and blah blah blah. But every so often he'll just say things like, data cleaning complete and stuff like that. It's like it's almost like he's I get this like when I think about him as this like fat sweaty nerd that's created a world somewhere, and he's like, hi, I'm your god, data cleaning complete.
You have to stay here. Would you like to try my homemade hummus?
But yeah, so the puzzles in the game, it's kind of like I say, it's got this sort of ancient setting sort of thing, but all the sort of puzzle things that you're using to complete the puzzles are all high technology, futuristic
lasers,
technology. Yeah, you saw a bit of this, didn't you?
Coloured lasers.
So you get things like, there's machine guns on the walls and stuff like that you have to try and get past, and there are, like you say, there's laser things that you've got to try and get a laser to go into a certain area.
Yeah. Certainly most of the puzzles I saw you doing were involving lasers and doors, and
doors
being opened by lasers.
That's right. And like the first bit of equipment you get in the game is a jammer. So you can get these little jammer things. They look a bit like the turrets in Portal, actually. Those little things that scream and stuff like that. They look a bit like those. And you can basically use those to like jam the doors are basically force fields, so you can just put a jammer on the ground and point it at a door, and it'll open the door for you, sort of thing. But you can do other things, like you can jam the machine gun so you can get past them. But you sometimes have to like do some little clever tricks, sort of thing. So you might have to jam a door and then run round somewhere else and get another jammer and go and jam something else, or you have to do it through little holes in the walls and stuff. So you have to try and get the lining up perfect and stuff like that to get the jamming right. And it just starts off with that, and then later on in the game you get some more equipment. You'll the point that I'm at, I've kind of like completed the first sort of world in it, and then I've moved on to the next world, which seems to be an ancient Egyptian setting. Which
it does move on.
It does seem to change. I thought it was just going to be the same Greco-Roman thing, but it seems that the different worlds have different. It always seems to be ancient history, though. So yeah, when you get different types of equipment as you go through. So you get connectors, so you can use you can use these to connect lasers, basically. So like if there's a door with a red socket next to it, you need to get a red laser into that socket, and the connectors will just like take the laser and reflect it in a direction of your choosing, sort of thing. But you can use them to connect up to multiple things as well. And then you get things like cubes, which are basically they're called hexahedrons in this game because why not? But and actually, there's an interesting. I'll get onto that. Actually, there's an interesting thing about the hexahedrons. But the cubes are basically you just use them to block lasers or block other things, or you can use them to stand on, to put things on, that kind of thing, to give you a bit of height.
General puzzle stuff.
And I've also unlocked some fans, so you can use fans in the ground and stuff like that to like propel things up in the air. So like if you need a cube up in the air, you can put this cube on top of a fan, and you can also like blow yourself up into the air and stuff like that.
Or make lasers arc.
Oh, I've not tried that,
With
but
a
that
fan.
would be physics breaking.
It'd be amazing if they put something like that. It's like, no one would think to try it.
I know someone that would infuriate, which makes me almost want it to be true.
I know someone that probably wouldn't be bothered by it at all. The people that made Transformers the movie.
Yes, they did like a bending laser in Transformer the movie. Also, Astro Train weighed down in space, which
They didn't give a toss about physics in that film.
but what was Talos Principle? That's what we're talking about.
You've got a fan.
Yeah, so the fans you get, and there are other things that I'm sure will be coming up later on in the game that I haven't seen yet, but that's quite interesting. But like I say, some of the puzzles they can be quite annoying. I think you watched me try and do one where I had to get the placement of a laser connector absolutely inch perfect in order to get through this door.
It seemed to hinge on you just kind of.
It was just trial and error, wasn't it?
It was.
And, so I think that's my only minor gripe about the game, to be honest. I think the game's actually excellent. It's really well designed.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these puzzle things, they don't. You maybe get to a point where you can't do a sort of clean puzzle, and something has to be. I don't know. They have to make it just slightly too difficult for you.
Aye, they don't want to make it easy.
No.
But I mean, I would prefer if like these kind of puzzles were more based on sort of problem solving and logic rather than trying to get a thing into the exact position it needs to be in.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say the theme in the game, the sort of setting and stuff. When you get the computers, I mean, you can go up to these computers and then you can read some like emails and stuff. But like, I think the idea is that this is set so far in the future, and that you're one of the many robots that have tried to come through this sort of puzzle. So one of many created robots. That like it's set so far in the future that all the computer data has become corrupt because it's been lying about for that long. But like you get emails that are like kind of broken. Like there's bits of text missing and stuff like that, so you can get little snippets of emails and things. And quite a lot of them are like, some of them are just conversations between two people about artificial intelligence and stuff like that.
Right.
Or there's quite a lot of like Greek and Roman philosophy. Like you find stuff written by Plato and who's the Roman guy that
Cicero?
Cicero. You find a lot of sort of things, and a lot of that is to deal with like what is it to be human and that sort of thing. Like that sort of Greek Roman philosophy.
There seems to be a lot of sort of general metaphysical chat alongside the puzzle.
Aye. And I think the idea is that it gets you thinking about because I think the whole idea is you're an android that is kind of struggling with this idea of like why do you exist in this world sort of thing, and then you've got all these sort of little philosophical things. There's also some like info on like ancient Roman, Greek, Egyptian myths and that kind of thing. There's also time capsules, which are recordings by some sort of. She seems to be some sort of AI designer, who has like buried these time capsules in the ground or something like that, and it's actually just audio recordings of her thoughts about artificial intelligence and stuff like that. So it's actually like it's not just a straight up puzzle game. There's actually some sort of thing there that's getting you to think about all different things while you're playing the game. So I found myself going through the puzzles and sort of like almost on autopilot solving these puzzles while struggling in my mind with whether I exist or not. It's quite interesting the way they've done it actually. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting game. I really like it. It's quite addictive.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's longer than something like Portal, given that you still only a little.
Yeah, well, Portal wasn't very long, was it?
No.
I only played a bit of Portal 2. I think Portal 2 was a bit longer, but I can't really remember how long I spent. Oh yeah, one of the other things, you find QR codes like dotted about the place, just on the walls and stuff like that, and you can walk up and you automatically scan them when you walk up to them, and it turns out that these are like messages left by previous robots that have been there. And some of them are just like, it seems that a couple of the robots have gone a bit insane and they're just saying weird stuff. Yeah. But there was one bit that's quite interesting. This is why I mentioned the hexahedron thing earlier, where there's basically like a whole series of QR codes on a wall And I was just like, you never see that before this point in the game. You only just find sort of one here and one there. But there was like 6 or 7 just on this in a row on this wall, and it was just this massive argument between all these robots about whether the cube was actually a hexahedron or not. And then like there was people like with some of the robots were arguing that it was a decahedron or a super polyhedron, and then it was quite amusing. Like it's good that they've added these wee touches in, sort of thing.
Aye, you got to give the game a good bit of flavour, for it to work.
Aye, but I like it for like what they've done with it, like because they could have just made a puzzle game, and done nothing else with it. You could have just done, you're a robot, here's some stuff, get through this, and they didn't. They've taken it much further than that, and I kind of really like that sort of thing. I mean, I do like a puzzle game, just a straight up puzzle game, but one that's added a lot of flavour and there's obviously a lot of thought gone into it. It gets a thumbs up for me.
Yeah. Sort of trying to put you in a kind of like a zen-like state of
almost
contemplation while you work through a physical problem, I suppose, in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Maybe I'll give it a go on the PS4 if it's.
I'm not entirely sure how much it costs. I can't remember. I think I got it on some sort of Steam sale thing quite a while ago. Actually, it's been sitting on my computer for months.
As many stuff.
And I just every so often just click a game to say, let's see what this is like. But so I don't know how much the PS4 version is going to be, but I would definitely recommend it if you like a good puzzle game. If you liked Portal, go for it. Just go for it, run with it, and try not to have a existential crisis while you're playing it, because it's probably easy to do.
Would you like to assign a kind of arbitrary rating system to that?
I'll give it 6 hexahedrons out of 7 polyhedrons.
All right,
I think that would be the rating that I would go for. Yeah. So there we go. That's the Talos Principle.
Excellent.
That was our one video game, really.
Our one video game.
Or my one video game.
Yeah.
So we played a board game recently.
We have played a board game recently we'd like to talk about.
Again, just before I went on holiday, so we'll talk about that. It's becoming a classic, this.
It has, yeah. I mean, it's been around a wee bit now. And I was actually, got this by my sister, who'd played it, and I wasn't really, I found it a bit odd that she never played a board game, but this is one that she seemed to find acceptable. It's Shadows Over Camelot, from Days of Wonder, by Serge Laget.
Serge Laget. I don't know how you pronounce that. But Bruno
Cathala, who's you were telling me earlier, he's a well-known game.
He's quite a well-known game designer. So he made a game called Five Tribes, which came out last year, and it was one of the most popular board games last year.
All right.
So
hopefully we'll get around to talking about that at some point.
Yeah, he's quite well known, but we've never played Five Tribes. So.
No. So we'll gloss over it. Yeah. No, Shadows of Camelot. It's a cooperative adventure game. You're working against the game. It's set in the world of King Arthur and Camelot and all that sort of
mythos.
You basically.
I drank a lot of mythos when I was in Greece. There's actually a beer there.
Oh yeah, mythos is good. Mythos is good. Not quite as good as Alpha.
Alpha was the classic. They also had something that was just translated as Greek beer, I think, was the actual Hellas Pilsner or something. It was just called.
Everybody's getting into the craft brewing now. There's probably something like that.
Sorry, I've thrown you a curveball there.
Cost porter. No, thanks, because that'll probably reset my understanding of this game. Basically, you're choosing from 7 of Arthur's knights at the start of the game.
Now, you got your classics, haven't you?
Yeah, Galahad.
You've got your Lancelots and your Galahads.
Your Galahad and your Percival. I think there might be a Percival in there. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with the mythology there. I don't know how much more familiar I am from playing the game. Maybe a little bit more. I know the Holy Grail's involved.
I don't think it really follows the story that well.
Well, you're not playing out... Well, probably not playing it out exactly the way it happened. But they dealt with some siege engines anyway. So, yeah, you're basically just taking on the general forces of evil, as are quite often stated in the rulebook. Every at the start of the game chooses from 8 loyalty cards.
Yep.
Of which one is a traitor card.
Traitor!
A traitor! And you, now it's quite possible you won't have a traitor in your game. You might well have none. It's quite easy out of 8 cards for just the one of them for nobody to pick it.
Well, it depends how many people you're playing with.
Yeah.
So the less people you're playing with, the less likely there's going to be a traitor.
I think the first time we actually played it,
I was the traitor.
The least number of people that I've played it with so far, you managed to
trait my way to victory.
Yeah. It's a 100% record so far. Basically, after the sort of loyalty thing set up, you're ready to go, and the player phase is quite simple. It's broken into basically your turn's broken into 2 phases: your progression of evil, and then your action as your knight.
Yep.
There's a couple of options, or 3 options for your progression of evil. There's 2 decks of cards in the game, one light and one dark. Dark ones obviously do bad things to you. And the light ones are sort of little bonuses. They are quite hard to get hold of, and compared to the dark ones.
Yeah.
Tended to have a lot of difficulty gathering cards.
It's quite difficult to get some of the white cards in that game.
Aye. You have to do sort of very specific, or just complete challenges, which require a lot of sacrifice.
It does.
So yeah, you've got your 3 options. You either take one of the dark cards, apply whatever effect comes from that, lose a hit point, or place a siege engine in front of Camelot.
And those are all bad things.
Well, yeah, none of them are particularly good.
Yeah, so you're not. I mean, the only real thing is a bit of a lottery taking a black card. It could be something which is just, isn't really going to affect you.
Yeah.
But it could be something absolutely terrible.
It's calculated risk.
It is.
A lot of it, and sometimes you get it wrong.
Quite often you get it wrong.
We kind of certainly found ourselves scraping through at most points.
Yeah.
For you to get anywhere in the game, there's various quests, and there's like a little rulebook in it that explains all the individual quests. There's some off the main game board, and then there's a few sort of set on the game board. So Camelot itself is a quest, and then you've got wars against the Picts and the Celt. No,
the Picts and is it not? I
Vikings,
can't remember. Possibly Vikings, some sort of Viking people, something like that.
Yeah. And there's sort of ongoing quests, and then you've got a tournament against the Black Knight. Those are all ongoing quests that just sort of keep on sort of building up throughout the game, and you can either complete them or not. Then you've got other ones off the game board, which are the Holy Grail, the search for Excalibur,
and the search is it Lancelot's armour or
Lancelot's
something?
armour, yeah. Again, you have to. Is that when you have to fight the? Is that the Black Knight? There's definitely some knight fighting involved in that, and also defeating the dragon, which is the flip side to that.
Yeah. So when you complete these quests that are off the board, you flip that board over and it becomes something else, basically.
Yeah, usually apply some kind of effect afterwards.
Aye, and one of the things is, I think, the quest for Lancelot's armour, once you've done that, you flip it over and it's a dragon thing that you've got to fight, which is even harder.
Yeah.
But...
so the quests you apply, once you've completed them or failed them, there's some sort of negative or positive effect to apply. Usually there'll be hit points you'd get back if you complete the quest, and some kind of item, like the Holy Grail or the Excalibur or the armour, which will have some kind of bonus throughout the game.
Yeah.
And then you've got your negative ones, which sort of usually take hit points off you and place swords down on the round table.
On the round table,
it's a round table, and it fits the swords quite nicely. There's spaces for, I believe is it 12 swords? Am I right? Yeah,
I think it's 12.
Yeah. So your objective really is to get down all the swords and make sure you've got more white swords than there are black swords at the end of the game. That's pretty much your only way of winning. There are multiple ways of losing.
Oh, aye.
Basically having more black swords at the end of the game than white swords.
If there's ever 7 black swords in the round table, you've already lost.
Basically humped.
But you don't win automatically if there's 7 white swords. because some of those can end up being flipped to black.
Again, coming back to your traitor!
Yeah. Traitor!
What's the other losing conditions? Well, you've got your siege engines. If you get out, I think it may be 12 of them again.
I think it is, yep.
Which is why it's obviously a calculated risk to
stick siege engines in.
Take the siege
it
engine.
seems like the easy option at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
like, just stick a siege engine in, it's fine.
In.
And then all of a sudden you've got 10 siege engines and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it's tricky trying to decide what awful thing you're going to do to yourself on your turn.
There was a lot of heroic just taking the hit point.
I think, that was going on.
There's a lot of that going on.
Well, one of the things you can do on your turn is you're basically on your... So once you've done your progression of evil, your sort of heroic turn, you're quite limited in what... You can basically only take one of 5 actions or something. It's like move to a quest, and that doesn't even allow you to start
to even try the quest.
You just move to it. That's it. That's your turn done. And then you sort of take whatever action is related to the quest you're on at the time. That's another one.
Yep.
I think you can heal if you do nothing. There's something to do with healing.
Possibly. I don't think you can you?
Know. I'm not sure. Well, basically the rest of them are sort of quest related, I think.
Or is that not maybe one of the options in Camelot? Because I think if you're in Camelot, then you can...
And you can take cards and things like that as well in Camelot. So a lot of people sort of find themselves going back to Camelot to restock, but it can be slightly...
It can
appear suspicious behaviour when there may be a traitor in your midst, just sitting in Camelot picking up cards.
The last game we played, I think a couple of us just spent the like first 2 or 3 of our turns just sitting in Camelot picking up all the cards.
Yeah,
because we've played the game before, we knew exactly what we needed to do. Yeah, we needed to get a massive hand of cards. Yeah. So what about the quest though? I mean, how do you actually complete the quest? We've not actually talked about that.
They're all... There's similarities.
They're all different.
A lot of the combat ones are essentially a case of laying down. In your white card deck, you've got basic cards which just have fight on them, and they're rated 1 to 5. So it's usually a case of either playing. Well, it's always sort of playing higher cards, but there's sometimes weird rules with them. Like to get the armor when you're fighting the Black Knight, you have to have... It's like a full house, essentially.
Basically,
so, like
2-2
and 2 2s and 3 5s or something like that.
Yeah, and then you add up all those, and if it's more than what the Black Knight has on his thing, which comes from the black deck, then you win. Yeah. And some of the other things, like the wars, you have to put down 1, 2, 3, 4 in order.
Aye, that's straight.
Straight. Then the Holy Grail, which is always a struggle, is like...
It basically involves you... putting down... There's good Grail cards and there's bad Grail cards.
Yeah.
And you're attempting to try and cover the whole thing in the good ones. The bad ones sort of are going the other way and try to sort of cover it.
Yeah, it's like a tug of war, basically. Yeah. So if a black card comes out with a Holy Grail picture on it, it goes onto the thing. Yeah. Onto the Holy Grail board. Yeah. But if you can get there and put some white ones down, then you can start pushing and pulling, and you basically need to fill it with all the white ones. And if it's filled with black, you lose the Holy Grail forever.
Yeah, it's gone, and you
take some sort of hits for it.
Yeah, you'll get hit by a Holy Grail.
It's like I was just for some reason I just had an image in my head of walking down like Preston Bands High Street and somebody going, "Oh, you ya bam, have this Holy Grail."
Can't you believe you lost that Holy Grail, man?
Look at you with your Holy Grail.
Aye, it's a lovely mental image. I'll cherish it.
I'll have a drink of water, I think.
Have a drink of water. So yeah, get right into the mic for that one. Would you like to have a bagel while you're at it?
Me too.
Right in there. Yeah. Charles Over Camelot. It's fun for all the family. What did you make of it, Chris? What was your...
I quite enjoy it. I mean, I think it's one of the first sort of properly semi-cooperative games as such. In the way that there could be a traitor. And I think that was probably the first game that had that sort of mechanic in it. Really? And in that way, yeah. Because, I mean, it came out in 2005, I think, so that makes it about 10 years old now.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it was long before Battlestar Galactica came out, and all those other sort of similar games. And I think, the first game that we played of it, when you got it, I was the traitor sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was interesting seeing it from that aspect. I've never been the traitor in any of these games that we've played. The multiple times we've played Battlestar Galactica, I've never been a Cylon. I found that quite interesting, and I like the way it's a very pretty game.
Yeah, you've got these lovely little pieces for all the knights,
and it's you do feel like you're really struggling with people, sort of thing. It's not like you're really struggling against the game, sort of thing, and you're really trying to work together. But there's also that thing in the back of your head of, is somebody here a traitor? Is somebody really just taking the piss here? Like,
yeah, it leaves things as well. I mean, I would say, thinking about sort of Battlestar Galactica, it comes quite obvious what you should do if you are a Cylon in that game, like in terms of how you can affect things without being completely obvious about it. You sort of see, all right, I can, how the way that the mechanics work for that. I mean, obviously we've not talked about that one yet, but
I think I managed to totally pull the wool over all your eyes when we played that first game. I think everybody thought that somebody else was the traitor, and I managed to just yeah.
Well, you do find yourself having to do things, if you just did nothing, it would be very quickly obvious if you were the traitor. So you have to work out a way of creatively.
You've got to make some token gestures. You have to make token gestures to get people to believe that you're actually trying to do something.
I'd be interested to try it, because it's not come up. I've not been the traitor in any of the games so far, but I'd be interested to give it a go.
I mean, I quite enjoy the game. It's not even that long a game either. Maybe about an hour or so, isn't it? No. So
I think you do really feel the struggle of it. Kind of maybe gets you, just takes you into the game.
It does.
Sort of get so absorbed into it.
And the turns are really quick as well, so you don't find yourself sitting waiting for your turn or anything.
It's got.
You do a bad thing, you do a good thing.
Yeah.
Next player.
Yeah, it is probably, again, it's going back to that. It's like a mechanic that I've seen in a few games, probably more recently. Is the sort of you have to do something to work against yourself, to make the game work against you. Basically, like there might be some action you have to take.
Yeah,
and that kind of is probably an early instance of that as well in the rules for it. It's the way that. You're basically forced to get the game to play against you, or decide how it's
that's it. I think that's what makes this game kind of unique as well, is because it's not just here's a bad thing that's happening to you, it's you choose the bad thing that's happening to you. So
yeah.
And that,
although I did say in that I did have a Jurassic Park board game in the 90s.
Oh, will you stop going on about that?
I know it's long gone, but everybody got to take a turn to be the T-Rex. So that was kind of like taking the bad action.
You're quite a big Jurassic Park fan, aren't you?
I love Jurassic Park.
You've been playing Operation Genesis on
I
gave you my old PC, and you found Operation Genesis on it.
Oh, well, you told me Operation Genesis was on there.
Well, I accidentally found it. And then as the words were spilling out of my mouth, I thought, I'm going to regret this.
I haven't played it too much yet. I was slightly disheartened by someone being killed by a hurricane.
A hurricane? That's not a T-Rex.
I know, that's the thing. I was trying to get the dinosaurs out there, but it was like, oh no, bad weather warning. I wouldn't worry about that. Next thing you know, somebody's died, and I'm getting sued. I'm suddenly like $2,000 in the red, and I don't know what to do.
Okay, Shadows Over Camelot. Give me your rating, Euan.
I give it 5 picts. Picts on a spike.
Saxons was the other one.
5 picts out of 6 Saxons.
Okay, that's quite great.
We keep using mixed fractions in these.
I'll go along with that. I do. I like a mixed fraction. I like to use 2 prime numbers.
that wasn't 2 prime numbers, Chris.
I know, but I'm saying I do.
All right, fair enough. Well, so you're going to go with 5 out of 7 then?
I'll give it 5 out of 7. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Shadows Over Camelot. So.
Get it up you. Sorry, get it doon you. Get it doon you.
And then get it right up you.
I forgot that get it up you is the insult, and get it doon you is the here, have this.
Yeah, it's a recommendation.
Crash course in Scots there.
Aye.
Right.
Moving on.
Yeah, move on. So
is there much to move on to?
There is.
Right, so we're going to introduce what could be the beginnings of a new segment.
Beginnings of something beautiful.
It could just be, yeah. It is something beautiful. It's a rough diamond.
This is... we asked for some contributors.
Yes.
And we got one. Our biggest fan.
And yeah, noted fan and now hopefully contributor, Pawel. He certainly contributes frequently on the online.
In the comments, yeah. If you've ever watched the Flight of the Conchords, he's like that girl that follows them around.
Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Just constantly trying to like get off with them and stuff. That's Pawel to us, basically.
I've had to avoid a few wet, sloppy kisses from Pawel.
He's leaned in a few times. But
you can always see it coming.
He's quite big, so you can see it coming. But yeah, so he's recorded an interesting segment for us.
It has. Now, I suppose we should set up now so that you don't get completely lost. He wants to talk about role-playing games.
The fact we have to explain this is amazing.
He wants so hard to talk about role-playing games that he fails to talk about the very fact that he's going to talk about role-playing games.
Yeah.
Until quite far into this introduction.
Yeah, so he's given us like a 6-minute thing. It's about 6 minutes, and I think he doesn't actually even mention role-playing games until about 4 minutes in. So this is how good this segment is.
Yeah.
It's comedy gold. Give it a chance because
stick with it. We hope, I certainly hope for more. I'd like to hear about some of these games.
Yeah. Now you might think that Pawel's a heavy drinker, but he's actually never touched a drop in his life.
No, he's a sober young lad.
Just because of the nonsense that he spouts here, you could think that he's been on that Polish vodka, but
no.
Well, we'll just put this on.
Yeah,
we'll put this on and we'll just let it go.
I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's Pawel.
Hello, peoples. My name is Pawel, and like my esteemed colleagues Craig and Euan, whom I may have accidentally mentioned, I have not been born in a country where the sun just cannot be bothered. I come from a place a few thousand miles to the east, and a good couple decades into the past. So at times it feels like I'm living the Back to the Future film, just without the Doc and Einstein and the DeLorean, and I don't really wear life preservers either. Excellent! But I'm not here to talk about what I'm wearing just now. You might want to look up a different sort of podcast for this sort of entertainment. Maybe should just think about a YouTube channel with like gaming-themed fashion advice. That would be amazing. And money on adverts. And so that I, just don't have to work anymore and can finally just like retire and enjoy life with endless gaming and an odd book or two just like thrown in, or just lie in the grass in nothing but my bathrobe. And I'm talking about what I'm wearing again. Or actually what I'd like to be wearing. That can't be good. I blame the necktie. That's just strangling me now. I hate neckties. It's like oxygen deprivation and a pretentious, boring like strip of fabric mixed into this sort of social status badge. I'd rather just like wear a proper Robin Hood hood or better, a Batman accessory belt. Because nothing beats bat accessories. Okay, so yeah, as you may have noticed, there's no one here to stop me from talking what my brain cooks up in a random and incoherent manner, yeah? So, I will try my best to contain myself. And maybe limit the frequency of garment-related commentaries. And also, I'm sure that Craig and Euan are listening to this with their index fingers pressed firmly against their delete buttons. And you know what? In some circumstances, censorship is really a good thing. So, yeah, Craig, Euan, go on. Just edit me heavily. You large and unnecessary. Wait, that can be right. I didn't mean to comment on your size, guys. Sorry, that was uncalled for. Yeah. Back to the main topic. Hello, peoples. So, our medium-sized and unnecessary hosts have kindly extended an invitation to a bunch of their listeners to provide additional podcast content and expand on their otherwise questionably limited choice of topics discussed, which is like a foolish idea if you ask me, because it allows me to pretty much just sabotage their hard work. And given that they're not currently here to stop me to like troll them as hard as I can, which is what I'm gonna do. Don't get me wrong, Craig and Euan are perfectly lovable pair of characters, even if they've not finished Shenmue 2 yet. Well, I'm hoping they have by now. And they've not watched Firefly properly, if I remember correctly. Jesus Christ. Honestly, I cry for the soul of anyone who's not watched Firefly at least like 14 times in their life. It's like not being invited to the Rapture. Nevertheless, now that they've started the gaming show business, they'll have no choice but to renounce their wicked and inadequate ways, bow to societal and fandom pressures, and up their game. And I'll be here to monitor this, because this podcast, as large and unnecessary as it is, has so far been terribly lacking in the field most important to me and mine, namely role-playing games. Role-playing games, you heard it right. Not the computer role-playing games, mind you, but the true down-to-its-roots tabletop RPG, the grandest amongst all of interactive entertainment. Just your imagination, a fictional setting to unleash it in, maybe a bunch of dice, and some friends if you choose to be social, and a game master to narrate your adventures just about anywhere and as anyone you desire. Now, I'm all up for a bit of board gaming from time to time, don't get me wrong, and I do spend way too much time playing video games, but role-playing games trump over any and all other types of gaming, and you know it. So that's why I'm here, to talk about it in a completely unbiased and objective way, with just the right measure of respect and attention given to my host's views on the matter. Oh, and you know what? I just thought of the name for my own tiny section of this most excellent podcast. The Pretty but Otherwise Pointless Game Master Scream. Oh yeah, that will work.
Well, thank you, Pawel, for what was a very enlightening chat about RPGs there.
That'll be his continuing segment,
I don't know what we're going to call this, but we're going to have to come up with a name for this.
He did have a name there. I'm not entirely sure I follow it, but that's fine. We'll go with it.
And you might have noticed that he kept calling me Craig.
Yeah.
My name's not Craig, it's Chris.
Well, you can be Craig now.
Well,
I think you should.
I asked him about this once and listened to the segment. I sent a text to him just basically, my name's not Craig. Yeah. And his excuse was that he'd been trying to get a hold of a guy called Craig all day, and the name was just stuck in his head.
I think what we're seeing there is, just like
Pawel stream of consciousness, basically.
Yeah, and I think a certain amount of I hesitate to call it racism, but I think it's a natural Polish thing to say. All these Scottish names sound alike.
Yeah,
Chris, Craig,
Andrew,
yeah,
Forbes,
Forbes McAllister.
I've seen 2 instances of Forbes being used as a first name.
Yeah, it's always slightly disconcerting.
Right, well, that was Pawel's segment. Hopefully you'll record... We'll keep this going. He's said he's going to record some more stuff for us.
We did mention last week we were going to put this out. We put it out now in the hope that it will maybe spur him on to produce more for us.
Hopefully he'll actually talk about some RPG-related topics in the next one. That was basically his introduction, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'd agree that it's probably not something that we've looked to cover so far, because it's not. We're not. Big
we're not. Nah.
tabletop RPG.
Like we'll say before,
players.
we've dabbled in a bit of Pathfinder, which
Yeah.
I'm actually still wanting to do.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
still up for doing it.
That can.
I was actually thinking about it today.
We can cover Pathfinder. See, the thing is, it would probably take us a lot of time to cover Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Whereas Pawel knows that many, he can just
Yeah.
delve into every other single type of.
I think he's currently playing
RPG.
some. What is it he was calling it? Was it Ocean Punk or?
I think he was playing a Sea-Punk RPG, which I'm really intrigued by.
Yeah, well,
I
interesting to
find
hear this.
Sea-Punk hilarious. Just get like some old Windows 95 visuals, a screensaver from Windows 95, and like
Well, that's Star
name
Wars.
yourself after a Greek goddess, and you're basically
You're sorted.
you're pretty much there.
That's you. You've played the game now
Yeah.
already. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Right. So let's. We're going to set up a bit of a teaser
We'll wrap it up. Well,
for the next episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was one game I was hoping to get up, but I think even now I want to play more of it and delve further into it, so I've got more to say, because I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
The Phantom
Pain.
You also played through Ground Zeroes,
I
didn't
did play through Ground Zeroes, the glorified demo. Not so glorified that people didn't instantly cop that it was just a demo being released at full game price. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing that, and I'm inspired by its setting and some other games. We're going to do. Hopefully, it's going to be a themed, very special episode. So
yeah.
we'll get. You'll probably be able to tell from the intro. We hope.
It should. The next episode should be quite interesting, because we're going to play a couple of board games we've got, which will fit into this theme.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll have a bit of chat for you.
But yeah, hopefully, I for one thing, I will definitely have a lot to say about Metal Gear Solid. I've been enjoying it immensely. Hopefully, you can get a wee shot at it as well, Chris.
No, I'm actually quite enjoying just watching you play it.
Yeah,
although I'm quite concerned that you've been playing it on my profile.
I've basically been giving you a lot of.
I've got a lot of trophies while I was on holiday.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if my girlfriend's going to see that and wonder if, like, every time she was in the shower, I was bringing a PlayStation out. And
but you would be getting your laptop out and playing other games, so it's fine.
I actually didn't. I actually spent most of the gaming I did on holiday was all Nintendo DS. I just played a lot of the Super Mario Brothers game.
Oh, right, yeah.
I completed the whole thing again.
Aye. Well,
just basically sitting out in the balcony and
it's quite addictive to
having a beer.
Aye. I did see a photograph of you with the laptop and the DS in front of you.
Aye, I wasn't playing games though. I think we were
no.
just listening to music or something.
Oh, that's.
I know, I'll let myself down, even when I'm on holiday, you know.
You revert to type.
I don't think my girlfriend had appreciated me sitting playing, this war of mine.
I don't know, is it particularly engrossing?
It's a particularly grim game. But
is it not appropriate for sunny climes, basically?
No.
No.
Might be appropriate for Greece, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, well, I think this has been our shortest episode so far.
Is it?
But
what are we clocking in at the moment?
We're clocking in at roughly 40 minutes, I think.
Okay.
So we've managed to keep it well under an hour.
So we've told you 40 minutes, and then you'll be able to work out how much we've edited out of this podcast by what the final release.
That's why I gave an approximation rather than...
Oh, right, you're being clever.
I was being clever.
Good. Yeah. So that's probably about half an hour there. We'll be back with a fuller episode next week, I think. Is the plan.
We'll make up for it because we didn't do one last week, so we'll do one this week and one next week, and that's us back on track.
Yeah, it's a bumper week, back-to-back weeks of the large and unnecessary First Player Token podcast.
You love saying that.
I do, yeah. It's now that it kind of trips off my tongue. I say trips.
You can say it without thinking.
It's a
Right. So that was episode 5. Yet again, if you have any questions, comments, all that sort of thing, or if you want to become a contributor, if you want to talk about something, just like you heard Pawel doing, he's set the bar there. It's pretty low.
He's hopefully opened the floodgates of people wanting to talk about games and give us their chat.
Just let us know. So we've got the Facebook page, it's the Large and Unnecessary First Player Token. You can also comment on our SoundCloud page, or you can email us at firstplayertoken@gmail.com, and I check that email at least once a year. So
Well, you know, when episode 340 rolls around, you'll be.
I'll check the
sorted.
emails then.
Yeah.
Right, so once again, thank you for listening. I'm Chris.
And he's been Craig, actually.
I'm Craig.
I've been Euan.
Thanks for listening, people. See you later.
Enjoy.